You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello everyone, I'm here with Neil Packer and we are in the Haunted Antiques Paranormal Research Centre.
Yes, hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, good. How have you been finding the museum?
The centre is fantastic. It's been open a year in last February, so
Yep.
in the year and a couple of months it's snowballing and it's getting more popular and bigger all the time.
Excellent, yeah, cool. Have you done an investigation in here yourself?
We don't do as many as we would like to, because every Saturday night for the rest of the year it's booked up.
Yeah.
Paranormal teams come and investigate. So when we first opened, we spent more time up here investigating ourselves, but we don't really get the chance to do it enough now, to be honest.
Yeah, that's all right. What's your favourite artefact that you've got?
My favourite always used to be the wheelchair.
Yep.
But now my favourite is the arched cracked mirror in the seance room. So I think
that's the one. It's like something out of Harry Potter, isn't it?
Yes.
The Mirror of Araset or something it's called. Yeah,
it's cool, isn't it?
it is. How long have you had that mirror? Has that been here from the beginning?
No, we've not long had that. Perhaps 3 months, 4 months. A friend of ours did a house cleansing.
Right.
In Loughborough, which is not too far from Inkley. So, and he says the negative energies were coming through this mirror, so
yeah,
we had it.
Excellent. Oh, that's good. I know Kerry's quite fascinated with one particular object in the museum. Do you want to just tell us about that?
I'm guessing that's the Nkondi.
That's the one with the nails.
It's from the Congo region of Africa.
Yep.
I'm led to believe it's a wooden figurine full of nails, and it's also got little bags of stuff hanging around it. On its front there's a mirror as well, which is supposed to be the mirror to the spirit world.
Okay.
It looks a bit spooky and scary.
Yep.
But I don't believe it is. I think it's not something really negative.
Okay. How do you get hold of the artefacts that you've got in the museum?
Well, most of the items that we buy are from Sims Vintage Antique Centre.
Yep.
Who is our sponsors. So I have to mention Phil.
That's it, get them in.
I have to mention Phil at Sims near Stratford upon Avon. So if you like antiques, go and see them.
Yep.
So most of our items come from Sims, but we're finding now a lot of people are messaging me and saying, I've got such and such, would I take it off their hands because they're having so much bad luck or so many strange occurrences in the house that they want to get rid of it and they don't want to burn it or give it to a charity shop, so they send it to me.
You do live feeds, don't you?
Yes. When I started Haunted Antiques, my idea was to make a series of videos.
Right, okay.
All the other teams do. But I used 4 CCTV cameras and 2 handheld cameras, and going through 6 cameras of footage of 5 hours investigation is a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, I can't be doing with that. So I decided to do live feeds.
Yeah.
Live feeds are so much easier. You just press play, do what you're doing, press stop, and it's finished with.
Are they on your Facebook fan page or?
Well, I have a membership scheme now.
Yeah.
So people can become a member of Haunted Antiques by paying £25 a year.
Mm-hmm.
We do exclusive members live feeds, and we do exclusive debate nights, and we do seances exclusive for them. And also the members have access to the CCTV cameras. So it's
okay.
The members get a lot for their £25.
That's really good actually for the whole year. Yeah.
Yeah, for the year. The years afterwards it goes down to 20. The
Okay.
reason it's £5 more for the first year is because they get a nice pack
Yeah.
with some information in as well, and I've had to pay for that. So
Yeah. Well, when you get some of the artifacts in, do you do research on them before you put them out, or?
we do a little bit. It's basically what Jane's my medium. We see what Jane picks up on them first,
Mhm.
and then they just go out into the centre, and we see what everyone else picks up on
Yeah.
them, because it isn't a museum. I don't class it as a museum because things aren't behind glass.
Yeah.
So if people want to sit in the wheelchair, for example, to see what they sense,
Mhm.
they can do. If they want to pick up an item to see what they feel, like psychometry, they can do.
Yeah.
So we actively encourage that. So it's not just our research; it's everybody else's research as well. So
Absolutely. Have you had anyone come in and just say, we've had so much activity, and what seems to be the common occurrence?
well, there's two clear. I think you found this last night as well. There's a good side of the paranormal in the main room, but
Yeah.
once you cross the threshold, it does change atmosphere. I know I've made it sort of dimly lit,
Yeah.
but any item with anything remotely negative attached goes into the N2 rooms.
Right.
A lot of people sense that straight away.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at the number of people who sense that.
Well,
As soon as
that's
you
it. I
walk
mean,
in.
when I came in the other day, it was almost like I couldn't cross that threshold. It could have been a number of reasons. I mean, I was hot,
Yes.
and it was almost the atmosphere in there. It just hit me, and I just couldn't go in there. And a little bit later, I went in there, obviously, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that later on the show.
In the sounds room especially, it does get very hot
Yeah,
because you're in the attic.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
the sounds room is very hot, and also I've put foam against all the windows to try and dampen out as much noise from the street as I possibly can. So you haven't got the luxury of air coming through the windows either.
That's it. Yeah, you need some aircon.
You're the second person this week to say about the aircon.
Stenner stair lift and the aircon. That's what you need, absolutely. Have you got any plans for other projects, or are you going to be expanding any time?
A lot of people have asked me over the course of the year is what's going to happen when I've got no room.
Yeah.
My immediate plan for that is I'm hoping that the people in the office below me, their lease is up in February.
All right. Okay.
So if they move on, I will be taking on downstairs as well.
Oh, right, okay.
So
Brilliant.
It won't double the size, but it'll be the main room and this sort of room
Yeah.
bigger. Plus, that will give you us access to the bottom of the back stairs, and the back stairs are quite atmospheric.
Yeah.
We do know some history about that.
Okay.
So that's the immediate plans. Plus, I want to expand on the membership.
Mhm.
I want to do lots of different live feeds. No, we started one a couple of weeks ago when we went in search. Me and Jane went in search of the White Lady. The
Yeah.
White Lady is the only apparition I've ever seen when I was about 13
Okay.
in the village where I was born. So I wanted to go and find her, and we did actually find her.
Excellent.
It was very emotional.
I can imagine.
So this Friday we're actually going to go in search of the hounds from hell.
I see that on your Facebook. That does look interesting. I've got an interest myself in cryptozoology
Yeah.
and cryptoids, and I know there's a very famous case in Southend where I'm
Yeah.
from, And yeah, you've got like Southend Werewolf, and it just happens to be in the Haunted magazine. I think they were talking about that in one of those. Yeah,
yeah. Something else I didn't mention about the membership. We also have different investigators in every Friday night.
Yeah,
investigating the centre. That's exclusive to the members. It's a 2-hour live feed, and the guests investigate how they want to investigate.
Yeah,
whether they use apps, phone apps, or whether they use mediums, or the normal stuff, REM pods, that sort of thing. So every Friday night's totally different to the last, which is really good.
So if someone books the location and they come in, is there anything that you don't allow them to do?
They're not allowed to clear the place.
Well, yeah, obviously, because that defeats the object.
They are allowed to do anything they want to do.
Okay, excellent. And then they're allowed to...
That's research, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
I'm not going to say... I know some locations don't allow Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've got my opinion on Ouija boards, but if they want to do Ouija boards, if they've got mediums who can open doorways, do it.
Yeah, excellent.
Let's get as much as we can up here.
That's it. But you said you're fully booked for the rest of the year.
We're fully booked this year. I think we've got one Saturday free in January. February's booked next year. So it's
going good.
But I only let teams in on Saturday nights.
Right, okay.
I might, depending on the demand, I might start doing Fridays, which will allow us to go in search of the hounds of hell, that sort of thing. But I don't tend to leave the teams up here on their own. I'll just sit in the tea room and on my iPad like I would do at home anyway. Makes sense.
I can totally relate to that.
But I don't interfere. I'm just here if you need any help or...
Yeah.
Something I tell all the teams is no matter what comes into their head or no matter what they feel around the body, just say, because I think if you get a name pop into your head, if one person comes up with that name, it's okay, but when it comes to 3 or 4 people sensing the same name, that gets a little bit more interesting then. It
does, definitely. Do you try and get them to document what goes on?
We try and document as much as we can. Obviously, they probably don't tell us everything because some teams have had crazy nights up here, which is good. So we do try and document everything.
Yeah.
But Jane is really good at remembering things anyway. And Jane keeps her book.
Yeah.
Because Jane, I don't mention, Jane's my medium. Every spirit she sees, she draws. We've also got other mediums who are friends now, and she describes to her husband. You've seen some pictures.
Yeah.
Husband draws the pictures as well. So we're getting lots of drawing evidence.
Mm-hmm. Are they the pictures that are in the stairwell?
No, they're the pictures I showed you. Well, perhaps
they're on the. There's some on the table.
I showed Richard.
Yeah.
Fantastic artists.
They are. Well, I had a look through them yesterday. Actually, really interesting. And we picked out a couple that looked like the animals. Yeah, you had that long tubular thing.
Yeah.
Creatures. We sort of come to the consensus that are almost like elemental spirits. The long tubular one with the wings, that's an air elemental, and the other one, I think Kerry said it was an earth elemental.
Okay.
So that's sort of where she's going with that.
That's good. Well, I call them creatures because I got nothing else.
Yeah.
To call them, you got to label everything, haven't you?
Well, just to describe it to other people.
To
it's
start
like...
off with, but and we've got more than that up here.
Yeah.
We seem to be attracting these creatures, but we believe that every now and again we sense something bigger. So we will send these creatures that are they just crawl around the floor, minding their own business, and then we were sent one that was more interactive.
Okay.
And now we've been sent another one which has got wings and it flies about.
Yeah.
So it's as if we're being tested.
All right.
I do think the spirit world knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
I hope they agree with what we're doing. You've been here 24 hours now. Nothing's made up. Nothing's elaborated.
No, definitely not. It's literally a. It just. for want of a better word, it's almost like a museum. You just walk straight in. You've got your hub room, then you go into the room where you got all the dolls and the clowns and things, and they are literally just sitting on the shelf, just waiting for you to pick them up.
Yeah.
And then obviously you go into the occult side of the rooms and stuff, and exactly the same. You just got all the artifacts sitting there, ready for you to pick up and play, and
that
was to your heart's content.
That was always important to me when I first opened the place.
Yeah.
I didn't want things behind glass because I think that defeats the object.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Absolutely.
And also, I don't claim the things are haunted. It's up to people to tell me what they think.
Well, that's it. I mean, you're providing obviously you're providing space and the artifacts, and people are coming in and doing the paranormal research on it, and giving you what they find.
Because you got to be careful. You got the suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, if I say that's haunted by a man, the first thing you're probably going to pick up on, whether it's your mind making that conclusion, is a man.
Oh, no, we did actually say that last night because we had a Skype session with Kerry after, and we said, although obviously it's really good, you can come in, do what you like, sort of thing. For some people, it could also play on their fears, because obviously we know that people don't like clowns, for example, and they're going to a room full of clowns, and they're instantly their fears are heightened. Yeah, and I think that sort of plays a big part of it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but it's all an experience at the end of the day, and
yeah.
That's I think that's really good. People want experiences.
Well, yeah. Well, you had your experience last night, didn't you?
We did, yeah. I don't want another one of those.
But to me, that's interesting, because I do think ordinary people wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
But you're not the first one to have that.
Well, as soon as it happened, I was like, I thought I'd message you just to see whether or not it has been reported, whether it was just me, because I've got health issues anyway, and like.
But yes.
Yeah, that's sort of where I went with. The first thought was like medical problem.
Yeah. But it's important if anyone comes to the centre to tell us. Yeah. There'll always be a team member up here.
Absolutely.
Apart from when I leave you guys.
Yeah.
On your own, but I'm on the end of a phone call anyway. So
absolutely, and you're not too far away either, are you?
So 10 minutes walk.
Yeah.
So just tell us, and so we can say, yeah, I've had that before. I can tell you who I think is doing it to you. Yeah.
No, that's really good. It was good to have that point of contact to get things clarified anyway. Yeah. So that was good. If anyone does want to book or contact you about the location, how can they do that?
I'm a bit obsessed with Facebook. The Haunted Antiques page, but only for the business.
Right. Okay.
If I didn't have the business, I wouldn't even be on Facebook, because it does me head in.
Yeah.
But you can contact me through Facebook or Twitter or email. My email address is neil.haprc@gmail.com.
Okay.
And just message me. But if you go on the website, my phone number's on there. All the details are on there.
Excellent. We'll put the details on the chat room as well. So I just want to thank you for joining us tonight.
That's my pleasure.
Or this afternoon even, doing this pre-record, ready for tonight.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah. So I think it's back to Kerry in the studio.
Oh, thank you very much, Paul. That sounds awesome.
I just want to thank you for joining us tonight.
So you're still live at the Haunted Antique Centre, aren't you?
Yep, we are. Yep, we're still here.
So talk me through it, first of all. So you arrived yesterday afternoon, didn't you?
Yep, we arrived. Neil was waiting for us, and because we got the car unloaded, and we sat and talked with Neil about the museum, about the research centre, and then it showed us around. It was really quite an interesting place.
You're there with Richard?
I'm here with Richard.
Your sidekick on these paranormal road trips that you keep doing at the moment. So, what were your first impressions when you both walked into the centre?
Well, we actually came in and just walked into the reception area upstairs, and Neil and us Paul was just explaining Neil met us, and we just had a general sort of chit chat and introduction. But then on the actual walkthrough, and you actually come out of the reception area through a door into like the main room of the antiques centre, which is very brightly lit, and it's a white room with just full of all these sort of artefacts, which are principally a lot of dolls, clowns. There's a whole shelf full of clowns. But Neil sort of took us through and showed us sort of like the individual like objects of general interest. I was particularly drawn to like the militaria stuff in here, not through any sort of connection, but just through my general interest. There's a RAF uniform on a sort of mannequin. There are sort of various military helmets and child's World War II gas mask. And then on the other wall, there's a lot of sort of like medical type sort of exhibits, boxes, medical equipment, and some death masks, a doctor's bag, and stuff like that, really. And I didn't actually sort of feel anything. I haven't really felt much per se. And then Neil took us through into the back room, and there's a door off this that actually goes into two back rooms. And the only thing I would say, you do get a sense that you are crossing a threshold from here into the next sort of area, which is totally sort of differently laid out. It's dark, and he has like two parlour type rooms, which are sort of done out more in a occult type sort of thing.
Like symbology on the walls and stuff.
Yeah, and symbology, and sort of candlesticks, and the sort of stuff you would expect a sort of like Victorian sort of seance parlour to actually sort of look like. So that part is actually very well done, and whether that sort of triggers your emotions or not, I mean, I didn't actually pick anything up in there, but they are definitely fascinating places to sort of go in, spend a bit of time. I can definitely understand why people would get a bit uncomfortable in there. I did say I would actually sleep in there last night, but I've actually decided against it. Both nights.
And Andy Mercer's joined us in the chat room. So hello to everybody in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. He says it sounds like his office. The seance room sounds like his office. Yeah, probably would be. So, what did you do last night? So, you cased it out. Obviously, you've settled in, and you've had a good look around. What kind of things was you doing while you were there? Was you just waiting it out just to see how the place felt, or was you doing experiments or sessions of anything?
Well, we did like to sort of wait out, get the feel of the place, and soak up the atmosphere. Personally, for me, I just felt that I couldn't go into the occult side of the museum.
Yeah.
And until obviously we had this Skype chat a little bit later, and you thought, get in there.
I forced him into it. I said, right, I want you to go in there. Now, we'd had a little look at, because as Neil said in the interview part, as you said to Neil, that is kind of the one I'm quite interested in, just because it's such a curious object, really, when he put it on the site. Straight away, I was like, well, what is that? Do you know what I mean? So for me, that was very much very interesting to get a look at it a bit more in depth. So later in the evening, I Skyped the lads, obviously, because I'm not going to let them go something like that and not stick my beak in, right? And that was very interesting, because we also had Joe on the line at the same time, didn't we? And me and Joe, or Joe and I, should I say, proper English, were picking up very similar things with it, weren't we?
You was, and there was so some sort of coincidence, or what it coincided with what's around, wasn't it? So
I mean, particularly yourself, Kerry, you were sort of like picking up on a lot. I was sort of showing Kerry via Skype the what is the correct name for it? It's
anaconda?
Yeah.
That's how I say it.
I posted some gallery of photos up on the group page, and there's a picture of me holding one, and and I'm not the one with the nails in their face. Just the listeners, so
this idol is
have a look at
basically
it.
this idol is basically for the people that haven't seen the photographs. It's like a wooden figure, carved figure with nails stuck in it, and off the nails is like threads, like strips of fabric hanging off it, and there's like little woven bags that are on it as well, aren't there?
Yeah, there is.
And it has a mirror just in his navel.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing to look at, quite frankly. Now, so Joe and I were with you guys on the Skype quickly to have a little look at this thing. And what I found interesting is I'm not a working medium, Joe is. And we were picking up very similar thing, or the feel of it. We were picking up very similar things with that one. So I made Paul go into the seance room with this idol because he was scared to go in the room. So I've got to go in it, right?
I wasn't scared. I just like going in.
We did try an EVP session, but apparently I can't shut up for long enough to allow an EVP session to occur. So, my bad. That one didn't work, right? Because hands up, rookie mistake. Kerry kept talking. And so the spirit basically didn't get a chance to get a word in edgeways while I was with you. And that's right, yes, it's African and supposed to ward off spirits, that's right. And so it wasn't what happened while you were in the room, because you said, if I recall rightly, you weren't bothered when you were in there.
No, it was quite flat and calming in there. I think, because where I live at home as well, I don't have too much light in my flat. So I was used to that sort of ambience. And some of the artifacts that were in there were really quite interesting. You had like a grandmother clock in there, some skulls, and again, it's all stuff that I'm sort of like I like. So yeah, it just felt quite flat and calming. But it was obviously the calm before the storm.
Well, it kind of changed after that, because after that, Paul came out and we were looking at the pictures that had been drawn by the psychic artist.
Yes.
That Neil showed you. And we were talking about those. And I was picking out the ones that felt very relevant. That I got a vibration from, or whatever you want to call it as. And we were discussing that. And then I'm going to let you tell everybody what happened.
Well, okay. Well, I was sitting here and I got a really sharp pain in my lower abdomen, whatever you call it. And yeah, it was very painful. I actually got up because I thought it was a cramp, and it eased. So I sat back down, and then about, I don't know, not even 30 seconds later, it started again, and it just felt like someone stabbed me in the stomach. That's how painful it was.
I will verify at this point in time, me and Richard were in a different room, and all we could hear was Paul, and I'm sorry to laugh, everybody, but it was like proper crying out in pain. He was like, that's all we heard.
Here we go. I seriously thought I'm going to have to get an ambulance here. But I went into Paul and I said, sort of, Kerry dropped out of the Skype. I was, let's get, emergency time. So the Skype shut down. I sort of went with Paul, sort of was talking to him. And he eventually calmed down, sort of settled down, laid him down, made sure he was comfortable and stuff. And you were sort of more or less okay within about half an hour, would I say, Paul?
absolutely. As soon as I was laid down, well, what I'd done, I sat up first of all, and I was trying to control the pain through breathing exercises because, again, something I've been trained to do, and it eased it enough that I could actually move to lay down onto the camp bed that I had in front of me. Luckily enough, I was ready, but because I was in so much pain, it made me go really lightheaded, and I felt quite nauseous as well. But once I was laying down, I was absolutely it started easing, and then after about 5 minutes, it had totally gone, and it just faded away. But even the whole night, I didn't get any more reoccurring pains. And then when I got up in the morning, I can still feel it because it just feels bruised now. There's no marks or anything like that, so I don't particularly know what that was. I mean, we've been speculating all day because we contacted Neil, the owner of the research centre, and we said, like, has anyone reported this sort of pain in the stomach before? And he said, yeah, that's quite a common occurrence. So I personally think if anyone comes here, they need a paramedic.
Have you
Painful.
Yeah.
I mean, it even crossed my mind if it carried on, I would need an ambulance. That's how painful it was, and I'm not one for going to hospital.
He's not.
So
I would like to say this. He is not a drama queen when it comes to things. Generally, if Paul's in pain, you don't normally, and I hang around with him quite a lot, you don't know. He doesn't let it out. And I know he's got problems. Do you know what I mean? But it's not like this problem. That's the difference, isn't it?
It was totally different, and it's not something that happens very often, well, at all, this particular issue. So, it just led to speculation of what it could be. I mean, after speaking to Neil, he said that it could possibly be the spirit of the doctor that was here, because apparently he murdered people and cut them open and things, and that could have been reflecting onto me somehow. But I don't know, to be fair. I mean, as you know, I'm more medical minded, so I'm probably going to go with the medical explanations. But I seem to be okay, and it's not reoccurred, and hopefully it doesn't. We'll just see.
We've still got time. Paul. But after Paul had this incident, I got back onto this, and once he calmed down, I got back onto the UK, and I sort of said I'd monitor the situation, and if it would continue on, and I'd get an ambulance. But if he was still uncomfortable in the morning, we would have called the whole thing off and come back.
But, right, so it passed really quickly in the night. So, basically, what happened at that point was, obviously, we was more worried about Paul, so we weren't doing anything else. So, we got him settled for the night, and then, the royal we, this is, everybody. So, you both slept there in the museum?
Yeah. I must admit, after Paul's incident, I didn't actually decide to sleep in said room. I'm sleeping out in the main area now, and I did actually lock the door to said room. But no,
you forgot to go through walls.
Yeah, but I slept like a log last night.
So, and you both slept very well. You weren't woken up in the middle of the night.
Not at all. It
Okay.
was so comfortable. It was quite nice.
Okay. So that was the events of last night. So we come on to today. So you get up this morning. Now, I know throughout the day you've done a few odds and sods. You've done a few bits and bobs today, haven't you? What have you started with?
Okay, well, we started with a Ouija board session, and we didn't really get anything on that. So we moved to the SB7 just to see if we can get any results. and I just recorded for 3 minutes because I didn't want to be sitting here all day going through footage, because obviously we had to do the interview with Neil and stuff. So yeah, I've done 3 minutes of asking out questions, and out of that 3 minutes, I've put together 17 seconds of footage and responses that we actually got that I sent over to you earlier. And basically you'll hear me ask a question and then you'll hear a response. But what I've done is I've altered the response so it's slower, so you can actually hear it. And in some responses I've actually enhanced it so you can it's louder than normal, so you can actually hear a particular response. So if you want to play that.
Okay, I'm going to play that now.
Is there any spirit in this room with us that wants to communicate? Can you come forward and tell us what your name is, please? Are you in this room with us? Can you come and say hello? Can you tell me how old you are?
Right, so we've just played it. I have to say, I'm one of them on this.
Well, I am too. I mean, I'm quite sceptical about the SP7 experiments anyway, but I just thought, we'd get it out there because that's what we picked up. I mean, read what you want to into it. But it just seemed that we was talking to a spirit called Carl, and he was 10 years old. I mean, but...
But we know, playing devil's advocate, which we have to do, is we know it sweeps through radio signals. It could be a coincidence of sequence where you ask a question and then you get something, and because you've asked a question, your brain is leaping to the word that you would like to associate with the location
Absolutely.
you're in. Do you know what I mean? So this is a known thing from a physiological response. You know what I mean? That's something we do with our brains. But it's interesting, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at it so many different ways, but we've gone in and we've not really, we haven't researched the place. So when we come up with names and ages and stuff like that, we don't know if they're associated with this location or even the objects. We're talking about the objects more than the location, but. We don't know whether. I mean, there could be a little boy here that's 10 years old, Carl. I don't know. That would need looking at, but you'd have to look at every object to see if there is a link. And there's so much here, you'd be doing it for years.
But I think what how is you have to log everybody's experiences, because like Neil said, he has people going in every single weekend. Now, if every single person that went in every weekend submitted a report of the things that the activity or the responses they received, or psychic medium, impressions that they got, if they reported all those, he could build, and I'm sure this hopefully is going on. He's building a case file, and then in that case file you can then start maybe looking, and then on the separate side of that you've got general research into the items that are in the museum as an ongoing research project, and then you might start seeing crossovers and patterns emerging through the data that's being generated, which is where it turns into the research centre.
This I feel is the strength of this place. I mean, Neil does not sort of make any extraordinary claims about it. He left it up to the individuals who actually come to actually go away with what they have found and what they experience. I mean, this place, and as you've just said, is a research centre and should be treated as such. I mean, if you're going to come here saying, well, is the actual property haunted or something like that, we don't know. Neil doesn't know. I mean, but that's not the actual point of the place.
No,
it needs to research the artifacts that are here, and he's giving all the paranormal investigators the chance to come look at these objects, get the feel for them, investigate, experiment with them, and see what you get. And if you get anything, then you can report it back to Neil, and he'll document it, and as you said, just build a case study. And I think that's the good thing about this place. I like the idea. It's good, and I think it's a good model for all paranormal museums out there.
The thing is, there's one thing that I think it's like the golden ticket for most paranormal teams. It's almost like they want the idea of having a location that you can go and do time and time again. What Neil's done is actually flipped it on his head. He's investigating all the, everybody's getting a chance to investigate it, which will help with all the data. So it's not like exclusive to one little team, it's exclusive to the whole field, which is fantastic. And it does open up that data collection from both sides of the research, the historical, the records office kind of research type thing on the objects, and the paranormal teams going in. And if you can get links between the two, how fantastic would that be? That's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, that's all we got from the morning session. And we thought, do you know what, we'll just leave it a little while, because obviously we don't want to, I mean, if there are loads of spirits roaming this place, we just don't want to keep bombarding them with questions or anything like that. We just want to just keep it nice and relaxed. And, we went back a little bit later and tried the board again. I mean, we tried it throughout the day about 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, each time we got more and more information. But where it leads, we're not too sure. I mean, because obviously we haven't got major access to any research tools other than like a quick Google search. It's not something that we can really look into. But I'll let Richard explain the next Ouija board session.
Richard?
Yes, we been, and as Paul said, we sort of like, it seemed we were being given sort of just little dribs and drabs of information very slowly, and the way the board was acting, it was sort of acting sort of like a bit odd. It kept on going to Z, and we were sort of thinking, oh, and here we go,
Zozo, enter the room.
The number 6 kept coming up, and we thought, oh, and here we go again, and it's sort of quite well known that we don't really, well, particularly Paul and myself included, we don't really buy a lot into that. So we were saying, look, stop messing around. But it kept persisting on, particularly sort of like Z, and the number 6 kept sort of reoccurring, and basically and yes and no answers, and then it would just give a little burst and then go to the goodbye position, and that was it. But the last 2 sessions we've done, we did come up with a name, didn't we, Paul?
We did, and it was Taraz, Taraz. And we researched as much as we could on this name. So, Richard?
Yeah, the actual name Taraz, it's a sort of like an Armenian. It has Armenian and Afghanistani connections to it. I mean, it's actually a name of a city in Armenia, and it's actually the Armenian national dress is actually called Tazaz. I mean, what that means or whether it's connected or not, don't really know. But through our basic sort of like Google search, I mean, it was sort of, sort of going to Wikipedia and then trying to navigate off Wikipedia to actually look, sort of more sort of substantial sort of sources. I mean, this sort of figure kept coming, this sort of nailed figure, that, and they are not exclusive to Africa, where this sort of figure is said to have come from. I mean, Neil believes it's from like the Belgian Congo, but it's quite possible it could be associated with Armenia, Afghanistan, these sort of areas. And we was just looking at photographs of these objects, and we were drawn to something like because you were getting sort of things about snakes, weren't you? Connected, and there is snakes actually connected with these totems.
Wow.
And again, the number 6 does have a connection as well.
Yeah, Taraz is a boy's name in Muslim countries, and I think it was. It's translated as persevere or something along that line, and it is connected to the number 6. So when we was getting the name Taraz, it kept going to 6, and we couldn't understand why. It was almost like, initially it was the letter T and then 6, and it just sort of bugged us a bit that's all it would come out with. And we was trying to say, like, are you English? Do you understand what we're saying? And, we're trying to get more information out of it, but it just didn't seem to want to play ball. And then at the end of the evening, it was like, well, this is my name, Taraz. And then that's sort of where we went off on the research. But it still doesn't tie up. I mean, there's, we could only go so far, and then we just hit a wall. So, I mean, it's definitely something interesting to look into. I just wish we could get more information, to be fair.
Yeah, it's very sort of like the information from the board is very sort of, we weren't getting much more than what we've just actually told you. I went round with my dowsing rods a bit earlier, because I'd like to dabble a bit, and I was sort of going over objects and just generally walking around, and I wasn't getting any pulls, slight tugs and stuff. The only places I was getting hits on the dowsing rods is in front of the fireplace in the main area, by the picture of the crime boy, of all things. The rods were reacting to that. And
is that where I picked the clowns up? Is that where I was talking about the clowns last night?
Well, yes. There's that 1970s like place, but the 3 clowns, and you sort of went to the middle sort of clown, but only run because I was walking sideways on, and my left-handed dowsing rod was pointing in towards the fireplace in general. Once I level, basically dead centre of the fireplace, but there's a fair bit on that mantelpiece and photographs, the crime boy picture, the 3 clowns. There's a big clown dolly as well in front of the fire.
But do you not think it's interesting that it pointed towards the area that I picked out something?
Well, yes. I mean,
it's not proof, everybody, or anything. I'm just saying it's interesting.
Yeah, but Kerry was sort of... There's 3 clowns on top of this fireplace, and they all look pretty much the same, but Kerry actually did say the middle clown is different, and when I examined them closely, the 2 outer clowns are like cloth-made models, sort of on sort of metal frames, and the middle clown is a different make or whatever. It's a wooden, and it's a carved wooden clown, and it's different. It is a different clown. It's not part of the set, where the other 2 you would say are part of the set. And then I took the dowsing rods, walked through into the back 2 like occult type parlours. Again, nothing really in them, but the only place I got the hit was above the totem. It's the only place.
Interesting.
My rods actually cross, both rods cross, step back, uncross, step over, cross. I've done it a few times. I sort of made sure I was balancing the rods correctly, because I thought, is it because we've been interested in this? I've done the best I could, but with my sort of, I've done dowsing a while now, and I'm pretty confident I can tell a pull when I sort of feel one. I can feel and I can feel them pulling as I was approaching. Immediately above, they would actually cross.
So, all in all, it's turning quite interesting.
Oh, this is definitely a place we need to revisit.
And yeah, we're definitely going to do that. But I mean, from this particular visit, we've identified a few artifacts that we're interested in experimenting with further. Someone else might come in and vibe with three totally other different artifacts.
That's it. But what do we say? We say about
was,
vibration and energy, don't we? And this is where it
yeah,
plays in. Different people will be drawn to different things because their vibration is closer to that than maybe something we've picked up on. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we're not sitting there saying that's all, but because everybody will work differently in that environment.
Mm.
And I think that makes it interesting too.
I mean, I've been on Facebook as well today, and just get people aware that we're going to do this live show tonight. Yeah. And I was talking to someone from another team that have actually been here as well, and 3 people in their team witnessed one of the dolls' heads moving.
Ooh.
So we've now also identified which doll that was. So that would be quite interesting to see whether or not we could maybe come back next time and try and experiment with that particular doll again and see if we can get any, if we can elicit any activity with it. That would be quite interesting.
Well, now we know the lay of the place and how you felt, then there is no reason why, if on a revisit, we couldn't devise some sort of experiments to do with these objects.
Absolutely. I mean, we can go away, think about it, and then come up with something, and then we can then work with Neil as well and document it. And I mean, Neil has said that we can come back whenever we want to, so we can do this over a long-term period. So it would be a really good, proper investigation that we can research and document and publish at the end of it, I suppose.
Which would be awesome. And so that's the whole point of a research centre, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just works on so many levels.
Neil's done very well to sort of like identify this for what it is, a research centre, to invite people in, and he's not advertising it as the haunted, as the haunted museum or something like that. He's quite sort of forthright when he sort of says this is a research centre, not a sort of haunted attraction type sort of place. This sort of like a place you can come, and if you sort of like take your time and do some good work, you could go away from here with some quite good results, I should imagine.
Cool. Well, Neil has come under criticism before now for the name of, using the term research. But I think this is an ideal opportunity, and I think that's exactly what is happening there. And as we all know, research takes time. It's not something that you can accumulate in 1 or 2, sessions. It's a research centre. So it's a question of building up a case file. And it's a fantastic place to do it in. I mean, I remember when we first spoke to Neil, and he had it in his garage, didn't he, Paul?
He did, absolutely. And, it was discussed about the research centre. But I think it works on so many levels because you do get the ghost hunter community and they want to come in and do the ghost hunts. That's fantastic. You can do that. And you don't have to research if you don't want to, because you can do all that
thing.
Sort of.
Yeah, you can still do your thing.
But then, if anything happens, just say to Neil, this happened to us, and then he can just, note it down. And as you said, he's building up a case study, so he's doing the research as well. But then, when you've got teams that are like the academic people, they want these artifacts to investigate and research. It's prime opportunity to come in and get to grips with these artifacts.
Very much so.
So on so many different levels, I think this is a really good location for anybody, any team out there. Just try and get in. It's quite a popular venue.
It is incredibly popular, and I believe they're not taking bookings for this year anymore. I believe they're into next year already.
Yeah, Neil did say that earlier. He was into
next year, which is amazing. And I think it's boys, well, not just the boy, the team, the Haunted Antiques Research Centre's team, the whole team have worked incredibly hard to get it where it is now, and it is something that's very interesting and creating a fascinating thing to look at from an external position, and what the research is that is being done there.
Yeah, it's just something different. It's not like the other locations out there, and there's just so much here. There really is, and they've got like a reasonably priced shop as well that you can buy little souvenir mementos of, So, and it's all quite cheap, and yeah, it's quite good stuff.
And you can buy books there now as well, can't you?
Yeah.
Because there is
You can
now
also buy the Haunted magazine, and I think the Psychic magazine as well is stocked here.
Ruth Roper Wilde, her books are stocked there as well, I noticed when I was having a quick look. And I do believe our very own Penny, Haunted Histories, is going to be in there. My Haunted Histories.
Yeah, it's not arrived yet, but apparently so. Yeah. It's on its way. Yeah. We just beat it here first. Penny could have just given us the book and we could have bought them up.
Don't, because you'll get you doing that next time you go up there. So what's the plans for the rest of the evening? Because you are there overnight again, aren't you? Are you going to continue doing some bits and bobs throughout the evening?
We're going to try. We're going to see what we can get, and maybe talk about it on the next Paranormal Concept show at the beginning of the show, if we do get anything. We'll see what we can get. I mean, we're gonna go for another hour or two, so we'll see what can come up.
But no more health sagas, please. I don't want any more of that. That sends my stress level. I'm down here, you're up there. I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't do anything.
No, I don't intend to go through that again. But I do. I mean, yesterday I was quite exhausted, so I think, as I said to you, it's almost like my guard was down a bit. But now I've had a good night's sleep and stuff. My mind's strong, and I think that helps.
Yeah, I agree with you there. So, Richard, what plans have you got for the rest of the evening? Keeping this one working, hopefully?
Well, yes, so we'll keep going for possibly like another hour or so. I think another Ouija board session would be up on the cards, because I noticed yesterday when we done them, they seem to sort of like get better. Sort of, you don't do for long sessions, but they seem to get stronger, and throughout the day, because we're actually doing them principally during the day, and we haven't actually done one this late yet. So perhaps, time of the evening may sort of, we're coming up now to 1:30. So, a traditional sort of time perhaps to sort of get the board and to go on the board, and who knows, but we'll definitely sort of take notes and report back what we do.
Well, don't forget, guys, keep an eye out on the Parasearch Radio group page, because all the info and pictures that they take, and maybe even a live at some point, from the guys at the Haunted Antiques Research Centre, there as we speak, fresh on the ground, as they say. So, guys, we're going to let you go so you can enjoy the rest of your evening.
We could do a live feed as we do the Ouija board.
You could indeed.
We'll do that in a little while.
You could indeed. So they are there overnight for the rest of the night. If you join us tomorrow night, 9 p.m, it is the Dark Mirror Show. But for a follow-up, shall we say, on what happened this over these few days, have a little listen to the Paranormal Concept Show, and we'll bring you anything else that maybe have been discovered while they were there. On that note, gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your evening now.
Thank you, Kerry.
And we're going to cut the feed now. We're going to say goodnight and leave them to it so they can continue their experimentation and their experience at the Haunted Antiques Research Centre. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.